It is jaw-dropping that this right here exists. And if you don't even have any idea what you're currently looking at, let me explain. This is a new Berserk anime. And it is a Berserk anime being made by the fans of Berserk. And it's basically the equivalent of that Thanos meme, fine, I'll do it myself. That's pretty much what's going on here. And to give some context, much needed context, Berserk, for decades at this point, has been constantly receiving just terrible anime adaptations to just full-blown CGI movies, to TV series. It is not what Berserk deserves as a series. The legacy and impact that Berserk has on literature itself, not just anime and manga, but just literature that is in the West, the East, everywhere around the world, could be studied. And the fact that the anime never really got an anime adaptation that it deserved is honestly sad. It's depressing to think about. And after all these years, fans decided to get together and was like, let's make Berserk how it should have been. Or at least let's make Berserk for the fans, by the fans. And that, at the very least, is what is clearly going on with this project. This first episode, this pilot came out under the radar, literally 2 days ago, and I honestly had no idea. Like, I saw it in my YouTube feed, and I was like, huh? I clicked on it, and then I saw this, I was like, Berserk 1997 fan, Season 2 pilot, I was like, huh? And then I watched it. It had, obviously, voice acting, English voice acting for clarification, and when I took a look at this, like, whoa, this art looks like the old 1990s Berserk. And FYI, this is what the old Berserk used to look like. The 1990s Berserk that never got a continuation. You know, this was the best adaptation we got for an anime for Berserk at the time. Ever since then, like in the 1990s. And it seems like the fans that worked on this project here, they decided to pay respects to that, you know, art style and the fans of the original anime, and decided to straight up just keep that art style with this fan project. So when you're taking a look at this, it's like you're taking a trip down like a, you know, like into a time capsule, or you're going through a time machine. Because the very way that this episode is presented, at least to me, and to everyone else that watches it, it has that old aspect ratio. For instance, it's a 4:9 aspect ratio. It's like the old format that you would see that, you know, would used to be like, you know, just incredibly crusty on those old TVs, etc. It is that old format. And on top of that, the art style and animation is just straight up almost identical to the 1997 Berserk release of the anime. But it does not stop just there. The animation techniques and the way everything is drawn and done within this project straight up looks like what an anime from that time period would actually look like. Like, everything about it, it's like you went through a time machine. Like, it literally has those animation techniques with how still frames are done, to just how reflections are done. It's very clear to me that the people that worked on this episode have just so much love and passion, not just for Berserk itself, but for the passion of art and animation in general. Because to be able to replicate an old art style like Berserk, and be able to make it feel like it really did just straight up come out from the 1990s, is an impressive feat. That is not something that just the average team can be able to work together to make. That's not. It takes a lot of effort and dedication and a lot of hours to be able to do that. And it really does scream throughout this entire pilot episode of the Berserk fan anime. And I just, shout outs to the team on that. Honestly, I don't even know where to begin, honestly, with just how much praise they really do deserve for this. But I know for a fact the undertaking and the effort that was poured into this is something that is next level. Because, you know, it's easy to make things super flashy and make it look more modern, etc. And I know a lot of people taking a look at this and be like, man, I wish it looked more like the modern animation and art techniques that, you know, we see in normal anime from, now in 2024, 2023, etc. I know there's going to be people that are going to say that, but I feel like it comes next level talent to be able to replicate an old art style and make it feel like it is actually a part of that world. It's just, it's really hard to describe, but they did a very good job with that. It is some real serious talent to do so. Now, taking a look at this pilot episode, I'm going to critique it since I am technically, someone that wanted to review this and just, tell you my thoughts on it. Is it good? Let's be completely blunt here. Is this a good adaptation of Berserk? Yeah, actually, it is. Once again, as I've stated, it's not as flashy as what you would expect from a 2024 anime, but that is the point. But at the end of the day, it's also a fan animation, so there is some leeway to understand that this project was not made by big corpos, not big CEOs and people behind, a lot of money. This was made by a group of dedicated fans that love Berserk, and they want Berserk to get the respect it deserves. And I think putting that all into consideration, the way this project turned out, it is a solid first episode in all accounts. Now, if I really wanted to be really, critical of everything, I could definitely find something. Maybe with the art and animation, maybe to how maybe certain key frames are done, maybe to how the voice acting is. If I'm really wanting to nitpick, I definitely could find something wrong with this. But in terms of keeping the very vibe and tone of what Berserk really does represent, I feel like it does harbor all of that with this pilot. And I think that if you are a Berserk fan in general, someone that has either watched the anime to some degree, or you've read the manga, or hell, you love Dark Souls, or the Soul series in general, and the inspiration from it thanks to Berserk, you should give this a watch. It's really, really good. Now, you're probably taking a look here and seeing that it says Fan Season 2, and do not be alarmed by that. The reason why is because I'm assuming when they were working on this, they designed this in a way to, like, if you watch the original 1997 anime, you can just straight up dive into the Berserk, fan animation. Even though technically the content of this is the first chapter, the first few chapters of, like, the story, it's pretty much like a retelling, so to speak. It's like the beginning of the manga. It's a retelling. It's basically season 1, but they kind of played it in a way to where if you watch the original, this would technically be season 2 in your eyes. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to briefly shout this out. It really took me by surprise when I saw this. I was just like, damn. Just leave it to the fans to be able to make a project that should have been made a long time ago. But shoutouts to everyone that worked on this. I wanted to just give my little regards to it because I absolutely enjoyed it. I did not expect to see this in my subscription feed and watch this today, but it came out and I was just like, shoutouts to the group. Honestly. Now, one thing I am a little bit curious on, I want to point out, so this is made by Studio Archie, this release here, and there is another studio called Studio Eclipse, and you probably remember me talking about them, okay? And this is, they released this trailer a while back. You can see that the art style is definitely a lot different here, and I don't know if this is real or not. Like, for instance, you can see they retweeted it. I don't know if this is the same group, like Studio Eclipse and Studio Archie are actually the same group, just under different names or something, or if these are two different fan groups working on Berserk projects of their own. I don't know what's going on there, so do keep that in mind. I don't really know. It's a little bit confusing here, but if this is indeed both groups working together, that's awesome. But if this is just the vision of Studio Archie and this isn't the vision of Studio Eclipse, I'm curious to see what Studio Eclipse does. It's really interesting just seeing the different takes that fans will kind of bring onto the table, for how they feel that Berserk should have been done. So, we'll see where that one goes, but I do want to mention that there is a difference between the names. So, I don't know if they're technically all related or not, but that is something I wanted to mention before I wrapped up the video. But anyways, be safe, stay healthy, everyone. I love you guys, and link to the, videos in the description. Chibi out.